Number 17. Meatloaf with tomato glaze and green beans. It's Tuesday, March 1955. In kitchens across America, something is happening at exactly 6 o'clock in the evening. Pot roast, or meatloaf, or a casserole that's been in the oven since 4. The smell reaches the front door before you do. The table is already set. The kids have been called in from the yard. And in about 15 minutes, a family is going to sit down together and not move until every plate is clean. Nobody planned this. Nobody sent an invitation. It just happened every night in almost every home in America. Then, somewhere between 1955 and 1985, it stopped. Not all at once, not with any announcement. It just stopped. This is the story of how. At the height of the Eisenhower era, the family dinner was more than a meal. It was the invisible glue that held daily life together. In the mid-1950s, nearly every household in America gathered around the table each night. Social historians estimate that close to 90% of families ate dinner together on weeknights, a figure that would be almost unimaginable today. The table was not just a place for food, but for conversation, discipline, and a sense of belonging that cut across class and region. The kitchen clock, the clatter of plates, and the quiet expectation that everyone would show up. These routines shaped the texture of American evenings for years. Fast forward to the present, and the numbers tell a different story. Fewer than 30% of families now report sharing a regular dinner together. The drop is not just a statistic. It is a seismic shift in how people experience home. The hour once reserved for checking in, telling stories, or arguing over homework has been squeezed by competing demands, new technologies, and changing schedules. What was once a nightly anchor has become, for many, a rare event or a fleeting pause between other obligations. The decline is not just about food, or even about who cooks. It is about the disappearance of a daily moment that signaled order, connection, and a sense of shared time. The American family dinner, once almost automatic, is now the exception. The question lingers: how did something so ordinary, so foundational, slip away from the center of American life? In 1950, fewer than 1 in 10 American homes owned a television. By 1960, that number had soared to nearly 9 out of 10. The living room, once reserved for company or quiet hours, became the new center of gravity each evening. Primetime shows like I Love Lucy and The Ed Sullivan Show drew families in, their laughter and drama competing with the clink of silverware and the sound of dinner conversation. The glow of the screen didn't just entertain, it began to rearrange the rhythms of home life. The kitchen table, long the stage for nightly check-ins and family debates, found itself competing with the television set. Metal television trays appeared in department stores. Children balanced their meals on their laps, eyes fixed on the screen. The idea of pausing for conversation gave way to the urgency of not missing a favorite episode. Swanson spotted the opportunity and, in 1953, introduced the first frozen television dinner. The 3-compartment tray promised a hot meal that could be ready in minutes and eaten without leaving the living room. By 1962, Swanson had sold millions of these dinners, a number that mirrored the rise in television ownership. The packaging even mimicked a television set, reinforcing the new ritual. Dinner, now portable and solitary, could be consumed in front of the screen. The family scene shifted. Instead of facing each other around the table, parents and children sat side by side, their attention captured by the flicker of the set. The first crack had appeared in the nightly ritual, a quiet move from conversation to consumption, from shared time to shared distraction. As the 1950s faded and the American economy boomed, the rhythm of home life began to change in ways that would reshape the dinner table. In 1950, just over a third of women held paid jobs outside the home. By 1990, that share had climbed to nearly 3 out of 5. Behind these numbers lay millions of new routines. The after-work rush, once the domain of a single breadwinner, became a shared scramble as both parents juggled jobs, commutes, and children's schedules. For working mothers, the day didn't end at the office. It meant racing home, often with only a narrow window to organize a meal before homework or bedtime. In dual-earner households, the old model of a slow-cooked dinner, planned, prepared, and served at the same hour each night, became harder to sustain. Instead, time was split and stretched. The expectation of a nightly gathering gave way to a reality shaped by clock watching and compromise. Meals became shorter, simpler, and more fragmented, a reflection of the new logistical math at the heart of American family life. By the dawn of the 1970s, the American kitchen was quietly preparing for a new kind of evening. The microwave oven, once a luxury found in only 10% of homes, began to promise a shortcut through the daily scramble. Advertisements spoke to families pressed for time, offering the chance to put a hot meal on the table in minutes instead of hours. For parents racing home from work, this was more than a gadget. It felt like a lifeline. Time-use studies from the era showed just how much the evening routine had changed. In the early 1960s, families spent as much as 2.5 hours each day cooking and cleaning up. By the mid-1990s, that number had dropped below 45 minutes. What once meant simmering pots and shared preparation now meant reheating leftovers or peeling the plastic from a frozen tray. The microwave did not just speed up dinner, it redefined it, turning meals into a solo act or a quick pit stop between activities. Yet the promise of convenience came with a quiet cost. The ritual of gathering, talking, and lingering over a meal faded as dinner became just another item on a crowded to-do list. Even as technology filled the gap left by changing work schedules, it could not restore the sense of pause and connection that once defined the family table. The microwave made dinner faster. It could not make it shared. Number 17, meatloaf with tomato glaze and green beans. By the late 1960s, a new kind of restaurant was taking root across America. McDonald's, which had started as a single drive-in in San Bernardino, quietly crossed the milestone of 1,000 locations in 1968. For families on the go, the Golden Arches promised something different: dinner that was predictable, fast, and always close at hand. The menu was simple, the prices low, and the experience the same whether you lived in Ohio or California. Parents could count on burgers and fries that tasted just like last week's, with no shopping, no cooking, and no dishes waiting in the sink. Children learned to recognize the red and yellow sign from the back seat, begging for a stop on the way home from practice or errands. By 1980, McDonald's had multiplied to roughly 6,000 outlets, an explosion that turned quick meals into a nightly option for millions. Other chains followed, and soon the idea of eating out or bringing home a sack of food became not a treat, but a routine. Fast food didn't just offer convenience. It normalized the idea that dinner could be grabbed, not gathered, and that a family meal didn't need a table at all. In January 1975, a new kind of window opened for American families, quite literally. The first mainstream drive-thru appeared at a McDonald's in Sierra Vista, Arizona. With a simple order and a few dollars, dinner could be handed through the car window, no table required. This small innovation carried enormous weight. It offered speed, predictability, and the promise of reclaiming lost time, but it also made eating together optional. The drive-thru was more than a convenience. It was a quiet permission slip to skip the table altogether. By 1985, the numbers on the nation's balance sheet told a story that decades of changing habits had set in motion. For the first time, Americans spent more money eating out than they did on groceries for home-cooked meals. The wallet had followed the window. Restaurant industry reports put food away from home spending at roughly $215 billion, just edging out $212 billion spent on food at home. What began as an occasional treat or a solution for busy nights became the new normal. Fast food chains, family restaurants, and takeout counters filled the gap left by the vanishing dinner table, offering not just meals, but a substitute for the daily ritual of gathering. The trade was clear. Families gained flexibility and saved precious minutes, but lost the hour that once brought them together. The drive-thru window and the wallet shift did not just change what Americans ate, they changed how and with whom they spent the most ordinary, irreplaceable moments of the day. Tonight, less than 1 in 3 American families will share a single meal at home. Convenience, shifting workdays, and fast food lanes have redrawn the rhythms of daily life. What vanished was not just a ritual, it was a room where connection grew. The question now, do we rebuild or keep moving apart?